Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Uzaidullah Hafi bin Sabarin from class J4 AC1104A1, and today I will be presenting about the individual assignment for the subject ECM367, that is the personal protective equipment, or in short is PPE, and I will be presenting about it. First is here is the table of content for my assignment, and what content there is in my assignment, which is there is number one, the introduction, number two, the types of PPE, number three, the hazard, the fourth is the conclusion, number five is the references. For the introduction, PPE, or more commonly known as personal protective equipment, are the equipment worn by workers to minimize the exposure to hazards that may cause serious injuries, even leading to death. This is by maximizing the safety gear and precautions used by workers around the workplace. Among the injuries that may have occurred is through the contact with chemical, electrical, mechanical, and workplace hazards, or even debris. As a civil engineer, it is common for them to be working under the construction of a public infrastructure projects, exposing themselves to different material. It is important to consider having their own personal protective equipment, as they will be more exposed to the harm of hazards and debris from their workplace or construction site. So here are the types of personal protective equipment. That is the PPE. First is the safety helmet. Second is the protective gloves. Third is the hearing protections. Fourth is the full face shields. Fifth is the safety goggles. Sixth is the respiratory protection. Seventh is the safety boot. Eighth is the protective clothing. Nine is the reflective vest. And 10th is the fall protection equipment. First is the safety helmet, one of the most commonly and frequently used forms of PPE. And as we know that many of engineers would wear the white type of safety helmet, as it represents the engineers and provide protections to the user's most vital area, that is the head, against the impact from falling material or debris. On a construction site, it may prevent or lessen the head injury if occurred, and it is worn before entering any construction or work area. Next is the protective gloves, which is designed to keep the user safe from hazards of cuts, burns, crushing, or contact with any biohazards. It is worn during the work or projects that covers and protect the hand from the wrist to the fingers. It works in saving one's hands from any sort of injury that may occur physically. The hearing protections prevent unwanted or high-pitched sound that could cause hearing loss. It reduces the noise reaching into the ear and causing damage to the inner part of the ear. It is among the commonly used types of hearing protections are earmuffs and earplugs. As you can see, here is the earplugs and here is the earmuffs. Next is the full face shields, which works as a secondary protectors intended to protect the entire face of the user against exposure to impact or hazards. It is used with the combination of safety goggles to improve the ability in protecting the user's face. It is made with different transparent material with varying levels of thickness in order to protect the face. Next is the safety goggles, which is intended to shield the user's eyes from any unwanted impact from flying hazards or debris. The fitting of the safety goggles prevents objects from entering under or around the goggles. Each lenses might be mounted behind a protective lenses and won't block the vision of the user. And these safety goggles is worn together with the full face shields, as it could improve the safety ability. Next is the respiratory protection, which comes in various choices like surgical mask, half mask respirator, full face respirator, and respirator cartridges. So here, as you can see, He is wearing the half mask respirator, and it is used while working with hazardous or dusty environment, and it protects the airway and respiratory organ from being exposed to small particles that could enter the airway. And for civil engineer, it is commonly known that cement have a very small particle size and could enter the airway of our breathing, breathing organ. Next is the safety boots, which prevents from getting injured in the foot from heavy falling object, sharp pressing edges, electricity, or even cut from cutting machine. And worker requires reliable and durable safety boots to ensure their safety. And it is also made out of composite materials such as thermoplastic and aluminium in order to make it more durable. Protective clothing. It is used when working with contaminated dust or risk from chemical or metal splashes and pressure leaks. And we are required to protect the whole body from any workplace hazards. It is made from various materials with conventional or disposable. And as you can see here, uh, this the two engineers are wearing a conventional types of protective clothing. Next is the reflective vest, which is used in certain time in low light level or nighttime work environments. It is commonly used by road construction worker during nighttime, and the vest reflects light and would alert the passing vehicles. And as we know that during the nighttime, it is a lot more harder to see someone, especially the worker workers at the construction site. And it is important to wear this as people would see us more. And fall protection equipment consists of safety belts and safety harness and used when working at an elevated level above 2 meters or more. It prevents the site worker from experiencing accidental fall and getting major injury. And it is made from thick nylon and hooks that is equipped with double locking device, which would make the fall protection equipment a lot more harder to snap. Next is the hazard. So a hazard at the workplace. So what is a hazard? A hazard is a source or situation where there is potential for harm for human, including injury, damage of properties, and even casualties. Workplace hazards can come from a wide range of sources, and that could be from substances, materials, debris, or even process during the process at the workplace. There are also several ways in avoiding this hazard. So here are the types of hazard that is commonly known at a construction site or workplace. That is working at height. That is working at height is one of the most common cause of fatal injuries. And all employees working at height must have suitable training and suitable gears. And and it is also must be properly planned and supervised, as we don't want anyone to be hurt or having any casualties. And next is the moving objects, as hazards continue to increase as the time of the construction also increases. So overhead lifting equipment, supply vehicle or diggers are the types of moving object at a construction site. In order to prevent these types of hazard is to always wear PPE to ensure self is safe. Next is slips, trips, and falls, which is commonly occurred because of uneven terrain or unused material on site. And this could be avoided by managing the working areas and routes and manage the site so that workers can move around safely. So that is all for the presentation. Here is the conclusion that to conclude everything that was stated, it is an important aspect for a future engineer to be able to know and identify each different types of personal protective equipment. As one day future engineer would face the real situation of a civil engineer. Each and every types of PPE have their very own purpose along with its use, and it is important to have the knowledge on each of the PPE usage. And in order to conclude all of this, PPE is compulsory in order to ensure the safety of an engineer and to prevent from any unwanted incident from happening. here are the references that I have used and studied in order to come up with this individual assignment. And I guess that is all from me. My name is Uzabullah Hafi bin Sabarin, and thank you. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.